Welcome to New Dram Drinker. Today we start a new series called Door Step Distillery Visits. You may have seen on YouTube already, I've been posting a few coming soon videos of the distilleries we're going to do. We're going to start this one with the Bimber Distillery in West London. We're going to head out there soon. If you've never been to a distillery before like us, this will be our first time as well. You're going to learn as like we are. Their story started back in communist era Poland, where they used to distill moonshine, and this is where they got the name Bimber from, because Bimber actually means moonshine in Polish. The founders of Bimber, Darius and Julina, actually emigrated from Poland to England in 2003, and then in 2015 had the opportunity to open the Bimber Distillery. They took this opportunity with both hands, and in 2016 laid their first casks. 3 years later, 2019, they're coming to fruition. We thought we'd get down there and see all the excitement and what they're doing to get prepared for this launch. I hope you enjoy the tour as much as I'm sure we're going to, and thank you for watching. Okay, so we've just got back from the Bimber Distillery in London, and we're going to give you our thoughts on it. So, thoughts?
Initially, I was really surprised at where it was. Middle of a business park, going down this really long road with just like industrial type buildings, and we came to a garage up and over, shutter door.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's like, to be honest. We've built up this kind of idea of what a distillery is, and it's green fields and trees, and it couldn't
huge
be,
buildings, old-fashioned but lovely, quintessential.
It couldn't be further from that if it wanted to be. Now, not in a bad way, because when you actually walk in, your whole perception changes completely. So it's just a strange kind of first impression, isn't it? It almost leads you down the garden path because you're not expecting what you get once you walk through the doors.
And when you walk through the door, you go, aha! Yeah, there's a bar. Looks really good, very modern, well set out. Yeah, they were expecting us. We were welcomed with a drink. So yeah, really good, really good first impressions once you're through the door.
But you also learnt a lot as well while you were there. So what would you say you learned while you were there?
Well, I think one of the most interesting things, bearing in mind we've never done a distillery before, was their authenticity. Darius is third generation moonshiner. His whole ethos, basis for doing this is he wants alcohol to be produced how it has been for 200 years,
wasn't it?
Yeah, he was really, very, and you see they're very hands-on. It's a very small setup, had that really good quality feel about the people that were working there.
And it was pure coincidence that he happened to pop in while we were there, and you just think these businessmen have probably got that much on the plate that they're not going to spend time with you on a tour, but he must have spent what?
Oh, he was talking to us for ages.
3/4 of an hour, telling us about everything that he was doing, his plans.
His passion came out. It was just really lovely.
It was very refreshing, shall I say, to not feel like you were encroaching on his time. He was almost like he'd have carried on longer, wouldn't he? If we'd have let him.
He wanted to share how his baby is being produced and made, and and he told us lots of little things that made it different. He's definitely going for the old school feel. He did say that back home people produce their own moonshine a lot, in the house and things, and he talked about some of the old school things that he's brought in, for example heating the stills with open fire. People don't do that anymore, but he thinks that's like absolutely fundamental.
And it's the fun things because they've had them handmade in Portugal, and they've been made in such a way that the whiskey has more contact with the copper through its kind of process.
Pipes,
and there's a lot of thought gone into it that you don't necessarily pick up on. I mean, we all buy whiskey and you kind of drink it and enjoy it, but you don't really give it. Till you've been to a distillery, you don't really give it a lot of thought into what's gone into
They've
doing
even
it.
named their stills, but I won't tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that we didn't want to do with this, because we didn't want to tell you everything, because we want to encourage you to go there yourselves. If you can go there, I would encourage you to go there, because they are going to be moving in the future because of how successful it looks like they're going to be. And this may be its rawest form of kind of old-fashioned kind of
Look
feel.
at it now while it's tiny, because it's everything.
Yeah,
is
because I
all
know
there.
he's on about having a museum that's going to track the history of Bimber and I presume whiskey in general. And he's got massive plans for it. And I think if you can keep the same feel that it's got now in a bigger premises, it will be brilliant.
But he just physically is struggling to get everything in this one place now. The casks, they've got more and more casks, and some of them need to be going and stored somewhere else.
And it is a relatively small place, but even with that being said, the tour still was 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours long. So it's not like you don't get the information. It's just condensed into a smaller area, so that you see everything of the every process that goes into making the whiskey. It's just in a smaller room than you would necessarily imagine it could happen.
And we haven't done any other distillery tours, obviously, we've told you. I expected it to be a little bit more corporate, a little bit more, and here is this, and da 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 da, and then you go on to the next bit, and this is this. It didn't feel like that. Obviously, you're getting a lot of information, but it was ask any questions at any point. And a couple of times, we did, and then they just, even if we were veering off track, they would answer them, and they would talk about, oh yeah, and that's because of this. Let me just show you this. Let me show you this, and and it really flowed lovely.
And I
really
would say,
good.
when I first got there doing the YouTube, doing this video, I asked straight away what I could film, what I couldn't film. Was there anything I didn't want me to film? It was open access.
Anything.
I could record
Pictures,
anything I wanted to.
anything,
There was no limits. I could record everything, and I kind of did. So there should be some good footage that hopefully you'll have been watching whilst this has been playing. And
it was a really hands-on tour, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Length was good.
There was, at the end of the tour, you get to do a tasting, and there was 6 whiskies, wasn't there? Which
First of all, we tasted
these.
their gin, because they were already selling.
What gin was that?
There was a few types, but the one I had was the oolong tea gin. Never tasted oolong tea gin before, but I have to say, hands down, one of the nicest gins I've ever tasted. It was just beautiful.
And I did an old-fashioned as well for us, which was
when we arrived.
awesome.
They gave us some.
So you tried these 6 whiskies, and did you have a favourite?
I really like the recharred, and he actually brought out, and they were obviously charred barrels, and he brought out a piece of wood that was from a barrel that they weren't using, and it literally was a burnt piece of wood, and it smelled lovely. When you get all of that smoky, and you could see where they were coming from.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's really good. I also really liked the one in the sherry cask. The ex-sherry, because that was it had a little tingle on your tongue. It was just really rich, and you could tell it was sherry instantly. It was really.
I think
lovely.
I was torn between the peat. Is it the? No, it is not. Well, the ex-sherry was the one, and the peated one. What was it?
The new make.
No, it wasn't the new make. It was the new make peated. That was very nice. I'd love it if
it was a bit strong for me.
I love them all. I don't know what ones are going to release.
No.
I can't remember what they said.
And he did show us, he had a couple of bottles, sort of mock-ups if you like, but he did say they were looking at labelling and changing things as they were going on. Everything's done on the premises. They bottle it themselves. They label it themselves. All of that kind of small family-run business.
It comes across like that very much. So.
But it had a really lovely feel about it, and I'm hoping that when we go and see bigger ones, more established distilleries, that we don't lose that, because this, I'm going to predict they're going to be really big. There is something really, really special about the passion and the view for the future already.
Yeah.
They're going to be huge.
Yeah, but you can have great passion. If you haven't got great whiskey, you're not going to go anywhere. And luckily for them, they've got both. They've got a vision, they've got the whiskey to back it up, they've got the drive to get where they want to go. And I think the future's bright for them, to be honest.
100%. And such likeable people.
Yeah.
Like really easy to talk to. And
When they're saying, I think they've got a limited run to start with, I don't know, which comes out in September. And I think after that, they're doing a bigger run, which is probably when we'll be able to get it. I can't wait, to be honest. I was asking if I could pre-order a bottle while I was there, and I couldn't. So it shows you how well it's selling, or pre-ordering anyway. So yeah, what do you see the future? It's bright, isn't it?
well, yeah, I mean, you know, new location. He's got obviously big plans. Not just the whiskies, and he's got some, you know, they're already experimenting with some flavours and things, and special brands.
There's like a whole experimentation corner, which to be honest was probably the bit I thought they wouldn't want me to record, but they were quite happy for me to, and I'll put some pictures up as we go.
And if they do a museum to talk about the history, you know, of moonshine, and then where it cut and how it, you know, became whiskey, basically, all of that. You know, he wants, you know, just Darius has another vision where he would like a bottle of whiskey in the museum from every single distillery in the world. Like that's something like that. He's got this lovely big vision for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's definitely what you need. So, on finishing off,
big thumbs
I
up.
would say, yeah, big thumbs up.
We were really impressed.
Yeah, it's got everything and more that we were hoping for on our first distillery tour. And we look forward to the next one, which I think is going to be the Cotswolds Distillery in July. So keep your eye out for that one, and we will see you soon.
Pour it, drink it, enjoy it.